3 dogs. We've had Falco, which Agent Corey DePlantis had. We retired him after this past Mardi Gras. He served, he was 11 years old, served 10 years with the department. We had Canine Rex. Unfortunately, he had a medical condition, and his bloat, the stomach flipped, and he passed away while on duty. And then we had Canine Gunner. Gunner, we retired end of last year around October, and Agent Schlesinger was able to keep him as a home pet, and his daughter loves him.
Yeah, and we're going to go back down to the officers in a little bit and let them talk about how important these canines. Now, am I correct, Sergeant Abbott, when I call them the dogs officers too? What is the correct? Because they are part of the force.
They are. They carry the rank of sergeant. So each officer that's a canine handler is an officer. They are a PFC, Patrolman First Class. Canines, we follow the military structure rank where the canine is one rank above the handler. So any mistreating of the animal or the canine, it is a chargeable offense because it disrespects the rank also.
And it's taken serious on all police departments, but it's also taken serious if anyone in the general public harms one of these canines.
Yes, sir. There is laws on the books for police dogs. If one of our dogs is shot or killed in the line of duty, that's why they all have the markings police on their harnesses and collars. And I do my best to always, some of them are wore down, and as soon as I'm notified of it, we place an order to get new patches so we can always make sure that they have those markings.
As we go to the break, when we're looking at all these beautiful dogs, too, beautiful canines, the pounds per square inch bite that they can, but I remember when I used to wear the sleeve, you can feel it come through the sleeve, although they're not cutting you, but you can feel the pressure. What is the pressure?
The pressure fluctuates between the size of the dog, but usually it's between 800 pounds to 1,200 pounds per square inch.
Yep, you can definitely feel it for sure.
Absolutely.
All right, what we'll do, we'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll go back ground level. We'll let each officer describe their experience with their canine. Don't go away.
Drive hometown luxury for less at Barker Mazda in Homa. Take $1,000 off the MSRP and get 2.9% financing when you drive home a new 2023 Mazda CX-50. That's hometown luxury for less at Barker Mazda in Homa.
Rev Business started small in 1935. We built our reputation by providing hometown service with Louisiana hustle. For nearly 90 years, we've expanded across our great state, through the swamps and across the Mississippi, bringing fiber optics from the capital to the North Shore and down the bayou to the coast, all to connect your business with the world. Rev is about big business technology with small business personal service, powerful solutions, unmatched local service. Rev Business.
From the moment you walk into the showroom floor at Trapp Cadillac, you understand our commitment to providing a truly exceptional experience for all returning and new customers.
Our goal is to make sure you're always comfortable while understanding the entire process of getting into your new Trapp Cadillac.
When you drive a Trapp Cadillac, you know performance, bold styling, and our shared commitment to service.
One thing you could always count on here at Trapp Cadillac is our excellent service experience.
Domestic violence is daunting, and the psychological effects can do enduring damage. Obviously, all abuse needs to end. But how? The Terrebonne Parish District Attorney's Office is dedicated to ending domestic violence and helping those who have already experienced it. Our office supports many programs that educate and adjudicate abuse towards women. If you are a victim of abuse, call the Terrebonne Parish District Attorney's Office at 873-6500.
Has your Hurricane Ida claim been resolved? Did you get your settlement late or were you underpaid? Contact St. Martin and Bork today because time is running out. The August 29th deadline to file suit against your insurance company is fast approaching. Hurricane Ida devastated South Louisiana, and almost 2 years later, many victims are still suffering due to the tactics of their insurance companies.
If this has been your experience, know your rights.
Contact us today for a free review of your claim.
Led by a 7-member commission, the Terrebonne Port was created to assist our local industry in promoting economic development. We monitor government regulations that affect our local industry and work with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers to secure maintenance dredging funds. Because the HNC is the main artery for the heartbeat of Terrebonne's economy, Terrebonne Port fights a constant battle for funding to maintain the federally authorized navigable depth. We are now leasing waterfront and non-waterfront property. Terrebonne Port Commission, serving our industry to keep Terrebonne thriving.
Drive hometown luxury for less at Terrebonne Lincoln. Take $6,250 off the MSRP and get 1.9% financing when you drive home a new 2023 Lincoln Nautilus. That's hometown luxury for less at Terrebonne Lincoln in Houma.
All right, we are back, and we are showing off a lot of the Houma Police Department's sergeants, the sergeant canines that they have with them. So we thought it would make a good show. Let's go down to Agent Derek Schlesinger, and his sergeant is Chico next to him. And how long have you been working with Sergeant Chico, and what's it like?
It's an unreal experience. You don't know what you're getting into until you get into it, type of thing. Every day is a new day. The dog has attitudes just like we have attitudes. Some days the dog has good days. Some days the dog have bad days. Sometimes they're children, and they don't want to listen. But most of all, they listen. They are very well behaved. As you can see right now, there's 4 of them, and they're just playing around with each other.
Right.
I've been a canine handler for 5 years now. I've had Chico since October of last year, so we're coming up on a year together. First few months were rough with Chico. He's a very aggressive dog. Yeah. So it took a while to tame him, but he's a great dog now. He's well-mannered, well-behaved, and does everything I ask of him.
When he gets the command, though, he's ready to go.
Yes, sir, 100%.
All right, let's pass the mic on down to Agent Sidney Theriot, who's with Sergeant Zeke. And how's Zeke?
Zeke is a very high-driven dog. He's a Belgian Malinois. He's 3 years old. I got him in October. Him and Agent Schlesinger and I went through the Canine Handlers course together last year, and we graduated in December. And my second day on patrol, we got a criminal apprehension with him. As you can tell, he's just...
When he hears your voice, he gets
he's
activated.
A high-driven dog. He's very, very well-mannered. I love him to death. I wouldn't trade him for the world. It's been a pleasure to work with this dog and become his handler, and just love working with him.
All right, good. Let's pass it on down to Agent Austin Kesterson and Sergeant Mario. How's Mario?
Mario's probably the most calm out of all 4 dogs. He's also the most mature. We've been together for 3 years. We've done everything together. He's like family. He's part of the family. He goes to work with me, comes home, and he stays with us. I mean, he's part of the family and part of the bigger family also. Protect the officers on the road, our other fellow brothers and sisters in blue.
Sergeant Abbott, how did he manage to get the calm one?
So Mario, once we retired Gunner and Falco, Mario was the only dog left in the division. Yeah. The rest of them are brand new. So Austin has had Mario through this phase already as the puppy or the learning phase. So once they hit about 3 years old, they'll hit that chill button with everything going around until it's time to give them commands.
All right, let's go back down to the studio floor, and we got Agent Dylan Kibido, and he's with his Sergeant Bram. Yes. First of all, how do we get the name Bram?
Well, Bram is Hebrew for Abraham, so we kind of just cut it short to Bram instead of calling him Abraham on the...
Now, who names the dogs?
Well, they come with a preset name already from the kennels they're from in Houston when they come from overseas. So that's the name he was established with, is Bram, so we decided to keep it. Bram is still a puppy, as you can tell. He wants to play all the time, but he is a very working dog. We don't have any criminal apprehensions yet. He wants to play. But so far this year, since we started in the beginning of May. We made numerous narcotics arrests, probably in 20 to 30 arrests so far since May. And also, he helped seize $45,000 for state police earlier in this year. So far we just started, but we're working.
Let me go back to the sergeant here, Sergeant Abbott. I remember filming on the beat a lot. When those dogs show up, the criminals don't give you any problems.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
This past Mardi Gras, myself and Lieutenant Seth Boudreau with the sheriff's office, Mardi Gras is a big deal for us. I try to come up with contingency plans on top of contingency plans. Anything goes wrong, I want to have a backup plan. That Stanley parking lot, we've had numerous issues throughout the years. We had an agreement. We had our 4 dogs and their 5 dogs at the time. And we had a plan in place. If anything happened, like a shooting or crowd control, we would deploy the dogs. That's the fastest way to get control of the area and situation. And we executed that plan this past Mardi Gras, dealing with a fight. And we were able to, within 5 minutes, take control, get the parade back en route, on the route, and moving within 5 minutes. We wouldn't have the tool of these canines. It's a lot harder job for us.
As we go to the break, we'll come back again and get some favorites, but do they all eat the same thing?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now, this group does. When we had Gunner and Falco, I had 3 different types of dog food. One was a senior specialty mix, one was a medication mix, and then Mario had his high protein. So, yes, sir, it was an obstacle trying to find the 3 dog food, especially during COVID and Ida, that we could use.
Quick question. So if the chief, Travis Terrio, would say, I want a canine in my unit, what would the rank of the dog be?
That'd be a good question. It'd have to be a 5-star chief.
Yeah, that's an interesting, because when you were saying that, I was going, well, maybe the chief won't do that. All right, what we'll do, we'll take a break. We'll be right back. We're going to go back down to floor level, learn a little bit more about all the sergeants in the room. Don't go away.
Give where you live. The Terrebonne Church's United Food Bank.
At Big Wheels Travel Center, the fun and excitement are just around the corner in Bayou Blue. Big Wheels is open 24 hours a day and features 24-hour security, clean restrooms, and a wide selection of beer, soft drinks, and chips for all your needs. While you're there, visit the casino for daily cash prizes and drink specials 7 days a week. You'll get the feeling as if you are in a lush Vegas-style casino. Big Wheels also has one of the largest subways in the area. So stop by Big Wheels Travel Center, where everyone's a winner.
Tired of going to get a new car only to be told we sold it yesterday or charged extra fees? Come on down to AJ Doman Chevrolet, South Louisiana's fastest growing Chevrolet dealership, where we make the customer our top priority.
No credit, bad credit, we can help. We say yes when others say no.
Come do business with the company that'll be here today and tomorrow. AJ Doman Chevrolet, serving the area for 38 years at the foot of the Morgan City Bridge in Berwick.
HTV, bringing you local news and sports for over 36 years. From tragic events to heartwarming stories from the community, sports from the regular season and into the playoffs. We were there each time COVID struck. And when Hurricane Ida devastated the area, HTV was there before and after the storm, bringing you live storm track updates and coverage of the aftermath. When other news outlets left, HTV was there, helping those in need. So for your news, stick with the ones you know, the ones that know you.
Terrebonne General Health System is the largest healthcare resource in Southeast Louisiana, offering a high-tech and high-touch style of healing. World-renowned services include cardiology, women's health, cancer care, and a healthy lifestyle center.
This is a true calling for all the physicians, nurses, and staff who make up our proud Terrebonne General family. We are here to provide healthcare for our community.
To discover more, please visit tghealthsystem.com.
All right, we are back with our 9 guests. We have 5 police officers and 4 sergeant canine dogs, and we're going to go back to the floor. We'll start with Agent Derek Schlesinger. The language that you use, is it English? What is it?
It's not English. So my dog, he speaks Dutch. Usually when we buy or purchase our dogs, they come preset with the language. Whatever language they use in the Netherlands is where we purchase our dogs from. So Chico just so happened to come with Dutch. I was lucky enough to, my previous dog also spoke Dutch, so I didn't have to learn anything new. It's just jumping right back on the bike and getting back to it.
So, but most people who have to, or most officers that have to learn the language of the dog,
Yes, sir.
there's a learning curve for the officer.
Yes, sir. So some of our dogs speak Dutch, some of our dogs speak Czech, some dogs speak German. The sheriff's office has a dog that speaks Italian. They have a dog that speaks Hungarian. So there's several different learning curves, not just with the dog, but with the languages too.
Wow, incredible. Okay, let's move it back down to Agent Sidney Terrio. And what does your dog speak?
My dog speaks Dutch as well. His commands are all in Dutch. The previous dog I had at the sheriff's office also spoke Dutch, so I'm in the same boat as Agent Schlesinger. It's just like jumping on a bike and just taking a leash and rocking with it.
How many key words do you have to learn?
Probably 15 to 20, give or take. You know, the stay command, the lay down, sit, come, attack.
Yeah.
The tracking command, the search command, stuff like that.
It's a good thing it's a different language, because when you're talking to me and saying words, he would react on those words, wouldn't he?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay, thank God.
Especially
it's
on
not
the
far from the news desk to the floor, just to let the public know. All right, so let's move down to Agent Austin Kesterson once again. And do you have a large family? How's the dog around the family?
The dog's great. I got my wife and my 2 children, and when he's been there with us, you wouldn't know. But if somebody knocks on the door, he doesn't know who they are. He lets them know real quick that he's inside, and he's going to protect the family. So,
what language does Mario speak?
Mario speaks Czech. I think I'm the odd one of the group.
I would think Mario would speak Italian.
I would think so, yeah.
So Mario speaks Czech. Okay.
Yes, sir.
And fantastic. We'll move to Agent Dylan Kibita. And with Sergeant Bram, you said you went to a few day camps this year?
Yes, sir. Me and Bram attended a few K9 demonstrations for preschool and a lot of day camps this summer. That entails doing bike demonstrations, showing the kids how to locate certain narcotics that are hidden in like certain type of boxes that are concealed for the dog, so the dog will be able to use its nose to locate and find the dog. Yes, you're right. So yeah, we did a lot of K9 demonstrations this summer, and he was a good boy for it.
Now let me ask, what language does he speak?
He speaks Dutch, just like all the other dogs except for Mario. He speaks Dutch as well.
Yeah, I don't know how y'all differentiate the speak, because all the barks sound the same to me. All right, let's come back up to the sergeant here, and we'll wrap things up. Very important for police force to have this kind of arsenal when we're dealing with the escalating crime problem, and really comes in handy, doesn't it?
Absolutely. So K9 is a detrimental part of any police department, and if you're able to have them on your force, you're one of the lucky ones. We use the K9 division as our first line of defense for narcotics. These guys are out there making traffic stops, searching the vehicles for illegal narcotics. If they find stuff, they call me. I'll send an agent out, then we'll start working that case to become a bigger case, because we always want the bigger fish. We want the larger shipment of narcotics to get it off the streets. So these guys and the sergeants that work with them are our first line of defense, not only for narcotics and public safety, but in the event that we have an elderly citizen that wanders off, these canines can actually search for them as well. So it's not just a criminal patrol and narcotics. You can get out there and do numerous jobs with this one tool.
Look at Chico's chilling out right now, and Mario's chilling out. And Bram's trying to chill, but he's 15 months. So, but anyway, just real quick as we close, you had to raise $43,050, right?
So after Ida, the parish was in turmoil and destruction. We were also in a bind because Gunner and Falco were at the age that they needed to retire because of health reasons. So I approached the chief and asked if there was a way that we could do it. And our Houma Police Department associations, the HPA, gave us permission to raise funds through them to be able to purchase. So Zeke and Chico, the money was raised through the HPA by donations from the parish, from citizens and companies in the parish, to be bought with, along with 2 kennel inserts for the vehicles that house the dog. AC vent has an alarm system in each vehicle. That way, if the temperature gets too hot, it drops the windows. It has a fan that blows the heat out, and the lights come on to notify the officers.
Well, I want to take this time to thank the Houma Police Department and officers. Thank you all so much for taking a little time out of your day. Very impressive as we sit in the studio and see these canines. And I had the privilege, like I said, for a few years riding on the beat to see them in action. And if you haven't seen them in action, you don't want to see them in action. So that it's better if you don't really know what they're doing. So once again, Sergeant Neil Abbott with the Houma Police Department and the K-9 Division, thanks. We'll take a short break here on Bayou Time. We'll be back with a lot more.
Save during the summer sales event at Terrebonne Ford, because every new Ford in stock has a low summer sales price. Drive home a new F-150 XLT and take $8,000 off and get 1.9% APR. That's right, it's time to get a great deal at Terrebonne Ford, like on a new 2023 Bronco Sport with $2,000 off the MSRP. Plus, get 1.9% financing. So come save during the summer sales event at Terrebonne Ford in Houma, because Terrebonne Ford delivers.
Terrebonne Parish School District is now hiring bus drivers. A valid CDL is required. If you don't have a CDL, we will train you. You must be able to pass a medical health exam and a drug test. Salary range is $19,253 to $29,859. Benefits include free health insurance and retirement. Contact the TPSB Transportation Office at 985-876-7400.
Selecting an insurance provider for your business is a big decision.
With over 26 years of experience, our offered team is your solution for quality and proven coverage.
The customer service you remember from years ago is what we pride our team on.
We know how important your company is to the community.
From small businesses to large businesses, Alford & Associates can manage your insurance. It's our job.
Alford & Associates, benefiting your employees and protecting your business.
Cardiovascular Institute of the South is celebrating 40 years of delivering health care to our patients and communities. Founded by Dr. Craig Walker in 1983 and guided by a mission to provide the highest quality cardiovascular care available, CIS has pioneered hundreds of firsts to improve outcomes for cardiovascular diseases. Through new technology, virtual care, outpatient procedures, and national growth, CIS is improving lives and leading the way for advanced care and innovation.
Insurance companies often deny, delay, don't pay enough. Hurricane Ida has decimated Terrebonne and Lafourche parishes. By now, you've heard that thousands of people have been taken advantage of by their insurance companies. Don't give up. At Waits & Downer Law Firm, we want to make sure that you have all the facts when dealing with your insurance company. We have the legal experience and ability to make them pay. Get the help you need. At Waits & Downer, it's our goal to not only get you a full damage recovery, but to get the insurance company to reimburse your legal fees. So once again, don't give up. That's exactly what the insurance companies want you to do. Call today for a free consultation. We are local and we are here to stay. Let our years of experience work for you. Pick up the phone, 985-876-0870 for a free consultation.
Hey everybody, welcome into Going Public. I am Harry McCullough. We're joined this week by Nick Mathern, the South Lafourche Levee District. Thanks for being here, man. So far, so good, right?
So far, so good. Yeah, thanks for having me, Harry. It's good to be back. No, so far, so good. We're in great shape in South Lafourche. After Hurricane Ida, by the following hurricane season, we had all the major damages to the levee that we had seen were repaired. We've been putting some of the finishing touches on some improvements that we wanted to get in place, and so we're in great shape for this current storm season.
Yeah, let's hope so. I mean, it always ends up, and we go, well, man, it's not too bad. We got some wind, and it's kind of knocking some things around out there. It's good, but look, this is not the time we usually have to worry about. It's usually August anyway, is when the real issues around area, late August, obviously 29th, 28th, around that, all into September. So
Right.
that's the time we really need to really be ready.
Right. Storm season officially is June 1st, November 30th. Our busiest time that we've seen in Southern Louisiana has been really August 15th to October 15th. Right. So when we target having projects on the ground, like we have a couple projects going on right now, we've been targeting, say, July 15th to be done so that we can have our guys go out and throw grass seed down and have a fairly decent cover of grass before the major, that window of when we usually see the major storms hit, it comes in effect.
Yeah, look, I've been also in late May with a hurricane covering in Grand Isle. So they come occasionally, right there in May, June, but most of our busy season is July to October.
Sure.
So, So what are you guys working on right now?
Well, we do have a couple updates. The first thing I did want to kind of remind everybody of was what we did see in Hurricane Ida, because overnight we saw, we all in South Louisiana are very painfully aware of how much land we lose in our wetlands. And just overnight, it's estimated that we lost between 10 and 20 years of that normal wetlands erosion that we see just overnight. And so we've got a good before and after to show the people at home what we saw. We have a satellite image from December 2020. So this is the December before Ida hit. And then comparing that to the day after Ida, this is what we lost comparatively. A lot of what we see around the Delta Farms community and Northwest Little Lake, it's just all kind of blown wide open.
So it's got potholes in it now. And now, is that obviously post Ida? Was that firm ground, or was that?
That was all marsh on the outside of our levee, so you can see the kind of boxy area just in the cutoff area. The levied off area where you see some sugarcane field. That's a local farm. And on the outside of that was some very healthy marsh between that farm and Little Lake, and that's all kind of blown out. And the reason that's all so critical is because, our levee obviously holds against, bigger storms, but the daily wave action that we see is what's really having the potential to eat away at the toe of our levee.
Right.
The more land that we lose between the Gulf and the levee, the more vulnerable we are to that daily wave action and eroding away the toe of our levee.
Yeah, that makes a big difference. You can see exactly what is happening. I mean, we got the same thing in Terrebonne with Lake Boudreaux out there. It's kind of the same way.
Exactly.
Very small lake. Now, when you take off from the airport, you're like, whoa, that's empty water. That's open water.
Exactly. And even though we're more inland, we're not seeing, what we would think of as Gulf wave action, but even when you get more than about a football field of open water between the 12-hour levee and the next land that you can see, you start seeing, you know, whitecaps forming just on high wind days. And so that's where we really worry about land loss.
Any of that grow back in the last 2 years? I mean,
In the last 2 years, you know, it's interesting that a lot of it was lost, but some of it kind of shifted because a lot of the marsh that was more floating marsh, floton marsh that we call it here, it moved around and got piled up. And so there are some areas along the 12-hour levee where a lot of that accumulated. And so we've got really healthy marsh now there. It's kind of a catch-22 where we have better marsh here right at the 12-hour levee, but now we have a lot more open water that's just going to be more devastating to that in the years to come.
Debris that was piled up too.
Right. And that's where a lot of that debris was. You know, we coordinated with FEMA because at first it was going to cost us about $25 million to get rid of all that debris. And so we worked with FEMA to get it down to, you know, less than $5 million of what we actually had to pay, and then looking to get reimbursed. But a lot of that we were able to just kind of stack vegetation exactly in this area we're talking about on the flood side too of the levee and help beef up that marshland. So
all right. So what's next?
Well, we do have a couple of levee improvements we've been working on. The first is our Section C North levee improvements, and that's the area between the Cote Blanche connection that connects Highway 1 to the 4-lane highway in the South Lafourche area. So between the Cote Blanche connection and the Berg-LaRose Highway, LA 24, we're raising that section of levee to 13 feet. And that section of levee improvement is largely complete. So this is also behind Reach L of Morganza to the Gulf, so it's kind of double protected. And this is some of the best looking levee that they have in the entire system. It's just really well maintained and really well constructed. So we're very proud of what we've been able to accomplish there.
And you'll be getting grass. That's what you're talking about, grass seed. You'll be putting all that kind of stuff on there.
Correct. All that area has already been grassed and already seen some good healthy growth ahead of storm season. So moving further south, we have section the C South that we've been doing some levee improvements. That's from that same Cote Blanche connection down to the Basson's boat launch behind West 107th Street in the Cutoff Galliano area. And we're increasing the elevation on that levee to 18 feet, assuming that it'll settle closer to 16 feet when it's all compacted after a couple of years.
And at some of the redundancy that we're looking at, what's those little...
On the outside, those are terrace fields. So we've done a great job in South Lafourche and Terrebonne Parish in partnering with the state, but largely with ConocoPhillips and Ducks Unlimited, landowners and managers out there that they were the ones that designed and had those terraces constructed, some with grant funds, some with just their own private funds. And we're constantly looking for future opportunities to expand on that. I was just on the phone with our local Ducks Unlimited representatives this morning to expand
and that
further
will,
south.
Trap sediment and help grow land?
It can help trap sediment. It can do largely what we were just talking about, that, you know, when we have this
wave action.
Exactly. Just to have a little bit more land between us and the Gulf. And this is a very cost-effective way to get some of that land back.
It wouldn't be considered a redundancy levee. It would be more like, say, terrace to
right.
stop
Marsh creation terrace. Right. So moving further on the eastern side of our levee system, we have Section D North. This is from behind South Lafourche High School to behind the Leonard Miller Airport in Galliano. This segment is on the lower end of that section of levee. We had some overtopping here during Ida. It was only debris. There was no standing water on the inside, but it was definitely a low spot that we've been concerned about. And so we made sure that when we've been prioritizing the last 2 years where we're going to do some lifts, this was one of the ones that we definitely wanted to target. So that project, and we can see in the next photo, this is the same segment, just looking to the northwest. And the levee turns sharply to the left behind that far tree line. It doesn't just kind of stop and go off into the open water there. But this segment here is nearing completion, and we're very confident about how it's going to be holding up in the future.
When you look at those turns and all, do you just go turns the way you need to turns, or is there engineering that goes involved when you don't, you know, to have a point like that or that kind of stuff?
A lot of this was along existing land parcels when it was originally designed. You got to remember this was done back in the 50s by the Corps of Engineers when they studied the area in their overall LaRose to Grand Isle and vicinity project.
Right.
And in the end, after that that federal study, they decided the only cost-effective method of reducing risk would be to create this ring levee system that we have now around the LaRose to Golden Meadow area. So we've just followed along that same alignment. Some of it was old parish levees, some of it was new levees, and we've continued to build on that base that the Corps of Engineers originally built.
I got you. Yeah, well, as you look, now that they're building the new 4 lanes, going to end up, over the bridge in Leeville. But when you go over Leeville now, I mean, anybody who grew up fishing around that area, like, ooh, that's a lot less land than we used to when you go into Grand Isle.
All right, that was definitely one of the depressing things growing up. Every time you go to Grand Isle, we'd go, fishing or camping at the end of every summer, and the more times you go over that bridge, the more open water you see, and now it's just it's frightening, really. Right. And so, thankfully, we have had the investment from the state to, exactly like you're saying. Now it's going to be constructing over our levee in South Lafourche, connecting to the 4-lane to get us all the way down to Leeville.
That was a big part of what they did this off season, right?
Right.
I should say off season, but yeah. This winter. But yeah, you can see all the construction that's going on there. A lot of work being done.
Absolutely. And then a couple more projects down at the southern end of our levee, where we run parallel to the Gulf of Mexico. This is at the very end in Golden Meadow. We had some damage from Ida where we had washout around these flood walls. One of this near where the loop pipeline crosses our levee alignment. And so we just completed some concrete matting to help armor those tie-ins. So it may be a little hard to see on this image, but right where the dirt levee connects to that flood wall that comes into the earthen part of the levee, we've armored that with concrete matting, and these blocks have openings in the middle that it allows the grass to grow through. And that's one thing that we've seen, that a lot of the common practice is to put, it's kind of that black paper, that the weed barrier to stop the grass growing. And where we've seen storm after storm, where we've installed that kind of barrier, and we just have the mats or we just have dirt,
that's where you have problems.
That's where we have more problems. Where just to the west, on the western side of Bayou Lafourche, we've got matting that runs under the Lafourche Parish Water District line that crosses over our levee. And there, we didn't put the black fabric. We allowed the grass to grow through, and it gave some additional armoring. And so, moving forward, that's been a practice that, a lot of this
you would have thought the other way, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we had a discussion with the contractor about it. They ordered some fabric, even though it wasn't in the specs, and we said, well, hey, that's not part of it. And so we left it out, because the more we experience, the more we put into practice, and the more we can share with all of our neighbors.